Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to High Life. My name is Zackes and I'm your host for this show. Well, guess what? We're right in the middle of the summit, broadcasting live. It's lunch break now. So people behind me are having lunch, enjoying themselves, having coffee, networking probably a lot, maybe also a little bit of gossip or news. So the special thing is that we took this little studio here and moved it right in the center of it to enable you to be part of the conversation here. And what's very special about this show is that you can literally engage with us. So just send us your questions to #HighLife, and I'll try to include these questions into the interviews I'll be having here on this couch in just a few moments. Now, the question of course is, what is the High Summit? The High Summit brings together some of the German heavyweights, blue chip companies like Bosch or Siemens, alongside with some investors, and of course the cream of the crop of European startups and entrepreneurs like Peter Thiel, for example, and Charles Adler, which by the way I had the chance to interview and he'll be in our second show today. And of course a lot of other lovely people that I already met and that'll be here in just a minute. But well, enough talking I say, let's have a look at a video.
There's just nothing else like this anywhere else in Europe, and actually in most places in the world, there's just not something like this.
I think it's much more than a conference. It's much more of a cultural immersion into art and technology.
So let's look at High as a micro version, basically, of Berlin. It's an ecosystem that makes the probability of serendipity just increase 1,000-fold.
You can feel the kind of raw kind of quality of the entrepreneurship here.
I like the event because it takes away the barriers to meeting people, right? So you're not sitting in some huge lecture hall.
There's a strong culture and energy here. People are having exciting conversations and sharing ideas, sharing tips. And that was pretty impressive, just how easy it is to talk to anybody.
And what I really like about High Berlin is listening to people, not just from all over the city, but from all over the world, coming, sharing ideas. Ich liebe High Berlin.
Well, this is what the High looks like. And I mean, what could be more exclusive and more insightful than to talk to one of the founders of the High? And here he is, Ido Schoßwald. Welcome.
Thanks. Hi.
I mean, man, it's happening. It's your baby, live in action here. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's fun. It's super exciting to see all the people networking, sharing ideas. It's good times.
And originally, what was your idea behind bringing all these different kind of people together, like investors we have on the one side, blue chip companies on the others, and then these exciting entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so we know that sort of the future of Europe's economy depends on understanding digitization, right? And we know that startups play a super important role in that. And so we started High to give them a platform where they can get all the resources they need to innovate. So we bring them together with blue chip companies, as you said, with investors who give them capital, right? And it's really about giving them all the things they need to be better and faster. And so it's all for entrepreneurs, really.
Right. You know what? I mean, this is all about Twitter engagement here, so I'll just check my iPad for a second and see what's up. Some lovely questions. Yes, I have one that I think is at Kabelblume, and she wants at Kabelblume. Well, that's the thing about Twitter names, right?
Yes.
And so she wants to know, well, something along the lines of, is High the next TED in Berlin?
The next TED? Wow, okay, so I love TED. Those guys are doing some really, really cool work. I think they're spreading very important ideas, but in all fields, right? It's science, it's art, it's politics, and I really appreciate that, and they're massive, and they're certainly inspiration for us. But we really focus on entrepreneurship and technological innovation, right? So we are Berlin-based entrepreneurs ourselves, and we build companies here, and so do all the people here. And so it's really about how can we innovate with the help of companies, right? And how can we digitize Europe's economy? So I'd say it's not as broad as TED, right? But therefore we can go much deeper, and I think that is really important to have right now in Berlin, because it's such an important city for Europe's startup scene, right? So yeah, I think I certainly appreciate that you compare us to TED, but I think we're very different.
which is probably also really important. I mean, this is a unique event after all.
Thank you.
But here is that you have a startup behind High that is running the whole thing. And now what was really exciting for you probably in 2013 is that Axel Springer came in with now holds 49%. And what did that enable you to have such a strong investor in the back?
Yeah, so this event is special, right? This is the first High Summit that we do. And it's in collaboration with an event from Axel Springer. It's called the Welt Economic Summit, where they bring together Germany's most important CEOs from all the DAX companies, right? So the Bosch and like Lufthansa, etc., and the cabinet and the chancellor. And sort of that is really, really the core of Germany's economy. And what we've always been doing is bringing together startups, right? Sort of the young, innovative, sort of driven new companies. And we wanted to combine those two worlds, right? We wanted to bring together the ones who need all the resources, but who innovate like so desperately and so fiercely, the startups, right? Because they need access to industrial know-how, they need access to capital, they might need help with production and distribution. And on the other hand, you have these major corporate players who have all the resources and who want to take the next step in terms of digitizing their companies, digitizing their businesses, right? So we felt it made a lot of sense bringing those two worlds together, and working with Axel Springer there, that just works really well, because they're a very established company in Berlin. They're a media house, very well tied. So I think for us that's a perfect start to connect those two worlds.
That does sound like you have a completely new level, and I suppose like you started yesterday already, and then suddenly you have exciting guests, like even the Minister of Transport and Digital Infrastructure was here. You had exciting keynotes, I think, as well. And since you, our viewers, didn't have the chance to be there, I think we did a little recap of what happened yesterday.
Cool.
We'll have you in it as well, so enjoy.
High is an amazing conference bringing together really, really interesting entrepreneurs and investors and thought leaders.
Well, I'm excited and interested in the startup scene in Berlin, and I hope to connect with people that matter, professionally as well as from a private point of view.
Hi everybody, welcome to the first High Summit.
Startups are the best vehicle for innovation.
Es gibt nichts Größeres als diejenigen, die versuchen, Fragen, die sich der Welt stellen, heute mitzulösen, indem sie diejenigen, die vielleicht die Antworten haben, zusammenzubringen. Und deswegen ganz herzliches Dankeschön an euch beide für High Summit.
The only thing that matters for an entrepreneurial hub is your ability to attract and retain the most talented people in the world. It's the only thing that matters. Technology capital is importable. Getting customers is exportable. It's not a problem. Berlin is the only urban, inspiring, English-speaking environment in the Western Hemisphere.
But you have to have a very high level of conviction to keep going, and you will, so it's not so much, I think, the fear of failure that's the problem in Europe or Germany or Berlin, but somehow it's this fear of success.
At the end, as a successful entrepreneur, you have to use the system as it is. And you can be successful even if the system is not allowing you to be successful.
Well, that was the High yesterday, and I think since you have the big picture now and you know really what this is about, we dive into the interviews. And well, here he is, our first guest. That's Flo Meissner from EyeEm. Welcome.
Hi, nice to have you. Thanks for having me, guys.
So, actually what's really beautiful about your story and about EyeEm is that it does have one of these original stories where you were just wandering the world around and you were like, oh, I've got a problem, I've got to do something about it. And then suddenly you have a startup.
To be honest,
you probably told it a million times, but just for us.
Well, to be honest, it's not that not as romantic as everyone thinks. But yeah, I mean, my kind of story is that in 2009 I moved to New York to become a super cool photographer. Well, and as everyone can see, that didn't quite happen. But actually, in my second week, the problem was that my whole equipment and my cameras got stolen on the L train on the way to Brooklyn. And obviously, I was pretty sad. And well, that's how I got my first iPhone 3G back in the days, and a very crappy camera back in the day, and stumbled upon this new generation of photographers worldwide who wanted to take their hobby to the next level. And that's pretty much how why we started EyeEm. And we're currently building a marketplace and a global community for, well, the photographer inside all of us.
So a global marketplace in the community.
Right.
And here you are then this years later, and it does look super slick. I already checked it out.
Fantastic, thanks a
And
lot.
just for our viewers, we'll have a look at EyeEm.
Sure.
The real cool thing about photography is like that it connects people. Sharing is a big part of that. Meeting other photographers always inspires me because it's always nice to get recognition in a like-minded community. I think as a photographer it's very essential that you share your point of views and your knowledge with other photographers in order to improve yourself. A community like EyeEm is a great place to do so.
This is EyeEm. And I mean, it does look really beautiful, I must say, which of course is necessary if it's all about pictures and style. And now what I wonder is, like, how do people come to this community? How do you attract them, or how do they get to know about it?
I mean, the thing is, the way we started is also like a little bit differently because the beginning of EyeEm was really a photography award. We call it the EyeEm Mobile Photography Award. Basically the idea was to host exhibitions in Berlin and New York and actually publish a photo book about the winning entries, you know. And the cool thing was it's like you don't build up communities just like for paying or buying photographers. You have to join them, right? And that's, I think, are very authentic. I know that guy, for instance.
Ah, here he is again. That's Aido again.
Okay, right.
What up? What are you doing?
Willst du schon mal hier bist, mal Foto machen,
Well, that's live here at the... Okay, now we got to take a selfie for EyeEm. Obviously, that's obligatory. All right, let's go.
There you go. So, jetzt kannst du mal wieder abhauen.
So, that's going to be on your account on
EyeEm. I guess we
EyeEm.
had to do that, right?
All right. Well, that's a really interesting question now, is like, if you put that on EyeEm, how can I find that picture?
Yeah, so, I mean, that's really, I mean, the problem that we see in the whole photography industry is like not to basically, how do I take a photo, apply a couple of gimmicky filters and annoy my friends on Facebook. It's really about how do you find the interesting photos and surface the quality ones from this digital nirvana or oblivion that we're creating, right? And that's really our core technology, that we make it easy for you to find the photos that you're interested in, but also brands and marketeers worldwide to actually, well, use your photos and give you money for it.
I mean, we've been into the interview for 2 minutes now. I suppose there are some really interesting Twitter questions by now.
Wow,
I'll check it out. Surprise, surprise. Come on. So I have one here. Oh yeah, well that actually is a good one. Of course, we're talking about photo platforms. You're not the only one out there. And that one here, that user wants to know, what is the difference then between Instagram and EyeEm?
Okay, got it. So it's actually very simple. So basically, Facebook, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, you know, are social networks. You go there to connect with your friends and also find, well, images of your last birthday cakes or mugshots that your friends post. That's fine, and it's more of a messaging kind of platform, so to say. What we care about is actually real photography, and consider ourselves like as a content company, you know. And that's exactly the difference. So you go there to actually find beautiful photography of real people in the world, and connect with like-minded photographers about interests that you have.
What I also thought was really interesting when I looked at your website is that your team, on the one hand, you have like, I think you've got 18 employees. And
it's actually 38 right now.
Oh, wow, you're growing quickly.
Yeah, I think we have to update it, right?
And 12 different nationalities.
It's
so
16
I suppose
nationalities, right? Yeah.
16, wow. That means like, I guess that's a key driver of your innovation as well, to have such a mixed crowd.
Well, it's actually a good point, you know, because, well, for me, I mean, it's personally like, I love working in an international environment, first of all. Berlin is a fascinating place to be and attract those kind of talent from all over the world. But it's also, I mean, just to give you a quick answer, like we don't work in departments, you know, we don't have like an iOS department or an Android department. We work in cross-functional teams. So that means like there's always a designer, an engineer, a marketeer basically, and basically a product guy on the team, and that's very international itself already.
Like basically it's a dream come true for Generation Y people looking for a job.
Well, if you tell, yeah, well, I don't know if I consider myself part of that, but if you say so, well, yeah, I mean, in the end, it's all about like figuring out the work style that's in the end works for your product. And
one last
team.
thing I got to ask, because is that in the original, like when the website was not updated, apparently, you had only 2 female employees amongst 16 male employees. How is that?
So it's certainly evolved to the better, but I have to say, like, it's really well. I don't think it's a real issue. You know, like women all over the world are more than excited and talented to join that industry. And I think we have some really good examples also in Berlin for successful entrepreneurs who already proved that.
And what's really lovely about this is that one of these entrepreneurs, female one, will have right on the couch here following up you. That's Anna Alex.
Super.
And Anna Alex started the Outfittery. And we'll have a look at the Outfittery right now.
Wenn ich mal einen ganzen Tag Zeit hätte, würde ich mal so richtig schön shoppen gehen.
Vergiss shoppen gehen. Die Outfittery Style-Experten beraten dich kostenlos und schicken dir genau das, was zu dir passt. Geh jetzt auf outfittery.de. Echte Männer lassen shoppen.
Well, here we're back, and we had a lovely look at Anna's Outfittery. It apparently is about curating shopping, so maybe you want to say 1 or 2 words what exactly it is about.
Yeah, so I'm Anna, I'm the founder of Outfittery, and we are a personal shopping service for men online. So every customer gets his personal stylist who is then taking care of all his needs and wishes, puts together a box with 2 to 3 outfits and sends it right to the doorstep.
What kind of men are you looking at then?
So our target group is busy men who are working a lot and don't enjoy shopping.
Well, we've got a lot of busy men here, of course. And if you look at them, can you actually tell who's like more the startup crowd and who are more like the corporate people, the blue chips?
So I definitely think you can tell. I mean, the corporate guys are more wearing suits, while a startup guy would never touch a suit.
Never ever.
No.
Well, what's really interesting is that you say corporate guys in suits. You yourself have a corporate background a little bit. You were working for KPMG before, then you moved into the startup scene. You worked for Rocket, where very interestingly you were sort of taking projects for Zalando and Groupon. So you have quite a track record there already. Do you think that's a big advantage for you when now we're leveraging the Outfittery?
So definitely I learned a lot. I mean, I'm very grateful to KPMG that I learned where I don't want to work, and then I moved to the startup scene, and at Rocket I really learned a very good tool set of things and how to do it, and I kind of lose the fear of speed and of building a company very fast, and this is helping us a lot now, yes.
Speed is an interesting point, is that what I read that is that you went from 20 employees to 100, from 20,000 clients to 100,000 clients, so you're growing massively fast.
Yeah, so our customers really love Outfittery and our service, and they spread the word, so this is helping us a lot, and that is for us the biggest compliment that we could get.
And oh, I see one Twitter question coming up here. Just 1 second. What are the emerging markets you're looking into?
So we are in 3 German-speaking markets until today, so that's Germany, Austria and Switzerland. And I'm happy to announce that we will launch the Netherlands today.
Today?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
No, today?
Yeah, today.
Amazing, this is breaking news at High Life. So, well, congratulations, man. Wow, so this must be like, I mean, where's the champagne? Do we have champagne here? I mean, so how can you concentrate? This must be so exciting.
Yeah, so I will go back celebrating with the developers then after they press the button today.
Literally press a button?
Yeah.
So is it like a red ribbon and you cut it and you're like,
exactly.
bingo? Really?
More or less, yeah.
Whoa, I'm so happy.
Yeah, we're really looking forward. So it's our first non-German speaking country, and I love going to Netherlands now. It's a great market, and we will definitely continue on this speed internationalizing further.
All right. So, I mean, also, in one other interview you stated that you want to become Europe's leading e-commerce platform for men. So that's quite an ambitious goal. And I guess that's the next step to it. And where are you at the stage of really being there then?
I mean, there's a lot of potential, there are a lot of markets within Europe, and yeah, we are doing our best to conquer them on a high speed.
All right. Moving fast. I mean, I don't want to take your time. You must go and celebrate with your team, I suppose. And so thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.
And we have met another really interesting entrepreneur yesterday, and that is Charles Adler, who is actually really hard to get in front of a camera, but we were lucky enough to do so. And just check out what he was talking about. Hey Charles, welcome to Berlin. This is your second time here. What brings you to Berlin and to the High?
So I'd spoken at High last year, and I think two things primarily. One is High themselves asked, and I love the conference itself. A little bit of sort of art and technology and culture, talking a lot about the economy. And then Berlin itself seems like an interesting place in general. Again, kind of this fusion between its history with art, its sort of industrial past and industrial future. And then just the conversation here around economic resilience is kind of the way I would look at it.
All right. So, I mean, the news has already been that you're out of Kickstarter and you're up to something new. Do you want to give us an insight?
Sure. I kind of describe what I'm on as a bit of a walkabout. So there's no real set plans. You know, I've been doing Kickstarter for about 7 years, and you kind of have this like laser focus on the problem that you're solving. And now it's a bit about exploring the world, which is another reason why I'm here.
Of course, we thought you're up to the next big thing, but actually you're taking time out, relaxing. And so is that really important to become hungry again, to go exploring, even though you're a proven entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think, you know, even the connection into Kickstarter itself was a little bit of, I'd sort of say a little bit of a stumble upon, a reflection of some side projects that I was doing in the past. So right now is a lot of side projects, mentoring other companies, coming in and doing events like this where I get to connect with the world at large, and just see what's going on in the world.
Do you want to just sum up the message you have here for the High?
Yeah, I think a bit of it is around the future of the individual and the power of the individual as sort of an economic center. And talk a little bit about economic resilience, cultural resilience, and maybe a little bit less so about big numbers and big dollars.
Literally like 100 meters from here, we have the Berlin Wall, still a little bit.
Yeah.
And, well, 20 years ago it came down. So what do you think? What kind of wall might come down within the old economy or within the digital market?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing a bit of this now. I mean, I think it's interesting, like, who tore the wall down? Who put it up, which was, you know, government and sort of a reflection now of industry, if you will. But who tore it down is actually the more interesting question. Individuals tore it down, right? It was sort of a revolt. And I don't know so much about a revolt, but there is this, when I think about resilience and I think about the individual, there is sort of power in the individual, and a lot of what we're seeing, at least in the digital space, but I think it's sort of falling out into the real world, so to speak, is power moving back to the individual. And, you know, companies like ours, Kickstarter and so forth, that are, the whole intent is to give power back to us.
What's your message to all these individuals out there who maybe feel like they also should go and have a go at their idea?
I think it's pretty simple. Just go do it. I think life's very short. And I think just going to go do what it is that you have a passion for is probably the most important thing.
Thank you so much. And well, enjoy the High.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, that was Charles Adler, formerly Kickstarter, now on a break, out there exploring what's up here. For those of you just joining into our show, we're live here at the High Summit, which means you can send us questions at #HighLive. And if you're quick enough, one of these questions might make it to my next interview guest. Hello. Philippa Paun, welcome.
Thank you.
Charles Adler just said, go out and do. That was his advice to all the young people out there maybe thinking about the startup. You did. You went out there and you started something called the Wummelkiste.
Right.
So that's like a creative craft game for children and e-commerce.
Yeah, right. It's a subscription-based service for kids in the target age of 3 to 8, so basically young kindergarten age. And what we do is we send a monthly box with 3 projects for kids to craft their own toys. So what we do is we provide the parents with quality time with their kids. The kids have fun, but they learn something at the same time. So it's we call it edutainment, combination of education and entertainment.
Difficult thing to say. Yeah. Wow. Now, I mean, it's the age of the iPad, right?
Right.
So children grow up, they have the iPad. How can parents get there to get their children to leave the iPad and actually do something with their hands?
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. There's lots of great apps. There's lots of great stuff kids can actually do with the iPad. However, from my perspective, and luckily there's lots of parents that share that idea, it's great for kids to also get some like hands-on activities. So when it comes to fine developmental skills, gross developmental skills, your visual skills, there's so much things that you can actually learn and explore if you do something. And doing is different to playing with an iPod, obviously. There's one other thing with an iPod or with any kind of app, there's usually just a one-directional interaction between the user, which is the kid, and the device. However, what we provide is quality time between parents and kids. So it's very different from what an iPad can possibly give to your child. And luckily enough, there's many parents that actually share that idea.
And I think what that could look like, we will see now, because you produced a lovely video.
Yeah.
Let's see it. All right, I see we're not rolling the video. I'm still on camera. This is live here. So back on it.
I can explain in more detail if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe what. My question would be, it must be a very complex product.
Yeah, it's
I mean, you have certified goods in there, of course. Yeah. Making something available for children has to be very high quality, certified, and it's creative every month.
Yeah.
Does that place like a certain challenge or even burden on your team?
I think it does. It definitely does place a challenge. I wouldn't call it a burden, since that's basically what keeps us running. You know, that's what keeps us active and creative, and that's what we love. But obviously, there is a challenge in coming up with something innovative, creative, and educative at the same time every single month. And we actually need to produce 3 of those products every single month. So we are basically in like a constant cycle of product development. So we always produce or think about 3 boxes at a time, and try to provide those boxes with the content that we want to actually give to our customers, which obviously needs to fulfill the highest standards of quality assurance, safety assurance, and content quality.
I want to have one quick look if we just got an interview question here from our viewers. And, well, I see one. That is it easier or harder to succeed with a business that's not based on digital idea? Well, I guess you just answered it, right?
Yes and no. I think I did answer it from my perspective, since I love a non-digital product. I love to have something in my hands that I can sell. For me, it's like it just makes sense for me as a businesswoman to sell something which is physical, which I can give to a customer. However, I think the success factor rather depends on the quality of your product. And you can have a great quality in your digital product just as you can have it in a physical product, just a different type. And I think everyone should choose, as an entrepreneur, you should choose your passion. I'm passionate, that was loud.
And this is the gong. I think it's time to go back into to the lectures, right?
Right.
Well, maybe that's a sign for us to stop our live show as well. You still have half an afternoon left here. Imagine yourself at the end of the day. What could be the best thing you would have taken with you at the end of the day?
I think the best thing, that's why I come here. I want to meet interesting people and get interesting ideas. Whether for my business, for my personal life, I like to interchange, to exchange with people and just get as much inspiration as I possibly can get. And that's what I'm going to try for the rest of the afternoon.
Well, that's obviously something I had here. Absolutely inspirational to talk to you, also to the interview guests before you. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And for those watching, I hope we also could give you some inspiration. Maybe you're out there thinking about putting your idea into the world. Maybe you're even out there, you have too much money and you want to invest it.
Yeah, give it to me, definitely.
That's the place to come and to meet some really top-notch entrepreneurs. And if you want to get more insights, maybe even more breaking news, we have a second show coming up today at 3:45 Middle European time. So make sure to come in. Of course, we'll have the Twitter option there as well, so you can send us live questions and I'll try to direct them at my next interview guests. And I think that's it for this show right now. So stay tuned and check in again at 3:45 at High Life. Goodbye.